Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of GOAT Movies, the podcast for the simple movie lover, where we discuss movies we've recently seen and see if they have what it takes to become the next greatest of all time. What makes a GOAT movie? Is it quotable? Is it lovable? Is it any-able? You'll find that out today and more. Today, get your Sunday best and your dancing shoes out, because we're hitting the Met Gala with Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett. We're reviewing Ocean's 8. So once again, we are at the precipice of another reboot. A wonderful, amazing trilogy done superbly well with an all-star cast of George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Bernie Mac. I mean, just the names go on. And once again, we have a reboot. And I'm all for women's rights. I'm all for women's equality, better pay, equal pay, however you want to say it. But I'm just so nervous that Ocean's 8 is going to be a flop, just like the Ghostbusters reboot was. Ghostbusters, you have an amazing franchise. Went on to make cartoons, merchandising, and, you know, it was just amazing. I loved Ghostbusters. And I was really super excited when Melissa McCarthy and all those other female casts came out and said that they were going to be doing a Ghostbusters reboot. I was super excited. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. And then they went and ruined it. I hated the Ghostbusters reboot. That story could have been done so much better. So much better. And now we have an all-male cast with Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13. One of the very few trilogies that I feel the sequels equaled in popularity and success than the original. I don't think anything surpassed the other one. I personally like Ocean's 13 a little bit better than the rest of them, but that's just because it has one of my favorite actors of all time, Mr. Al Pacino the Great. He is GOAT for sure. Great cast, and I love the story behind Ocean's 13. Not just that, but it brought it all back to the beginning where it all started in Las Vegas. For those of you who know me personally, I love Frank Sinatra. To me, there's nothing better than that era in Vegas with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, the Rat Pack. You know, it just, the epitome of success in that era was Frank Sinatra. You also have the late Don Rickles in that era. Just amazing. I would have loved to have seen that time. This, whenever you talk about Vegas, it strikes a special note for me because my grandfather, may he rest in peace, a man who I admired and have so much respect for, loved going to Vegas. He would talk about it constantly. Unfortunately, I was never able to make the trek out there with him, but I know that if I would have, we would have had a blast. He always talked about the Flamingo, and anytime we would watch movies, and he loved watching movies with me, he would talk about, you know, the places that he'd been to, places that he'd seen. Anytime he would see an airport that he recognized, he would call it out and say, oh, that's the LAX, or oh, that's LaGuardia, or, you know, all these great big international airports. So Grandpa, I love you, I miss you, and think about you all the time. Enough of the sappy stuff. Back to the movie. Ocean's 8. So it was announced long ago that we were going to have an all-female cast of Ocean's 8, and I am one of the biggest Ocean's fans that there is. I think I'm rivaled by only one, and that's going to be my cousin Deborah. Deborah, I love you, girl. This podcast is dedicated to you. I hope I don't ruin it for you. And in reality, it's not going to be me that's ruining it for you. It's going to be this cast. But we'll get into that here in just a little bit. So we're talking about Ocean's 8. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what they're saying about it. Ocean's 8 is about Debbie Ocean. This is going to be Danny Ocean's estranged sister. Debbie Ocean gathers an all-female crew to attempt an impossible heist at the New York City's yearly Met Gala. Right off the bat, I'm sorry to do this to you, Debs. I gotta give this movie a 6. Now, the funny thing about this is that, for those of you who are avid listeners, I gave our last movie, which was Adrift, a 6.5. This movie was actually better than Adrift, so I would much rather go see Ocean's 8 than I would want to go see Adrift. However, the reason I would want to go see this movie versus Adrift is because it's a completely different movie, it's a completely different genre, totally different apples and oranges. You can't compare one to the other, but in the grand scheme of things, in the big picture, Ocean's 8 was much better than Adrift. The problem with Ocean's 8 is the fact that the entire movie was aimed at trying too hard to show that women do it better than men. As I've stated before, I'm all for equal rights. Women can do things better than men, a lot of things, but there's also times where men can do things better. And it's not necessarily that it's a man or a woman, it's the storyline. And the storyline here was trying too hard to show that women are better than men. I really don't know if there was anything that could have been done to make this movie better. It kind of makes me wonder how many times these directors, these producers, these actors, actresses, how many times do these people actually sit there and think, man, this movie was bomb, it was great, it was awesome, I loved it, it's going to make tons of money? Or do you think that some of these people actually sit there, watch the movie, and are like, ugh, this was bad, I think we have a flop here? Do some of these flops not even leave the studio? I wonder. The one thing I will give Ocean's 8 is they had a ton of celebrity cameos. You had Heidi Klum, Serena Williams, Katie Holmes, Zach Posen, Olivia Munn. You also had Maria Sharapova, Kim Kardashian West, Kylie Jenner, Kendall Jenner, Dakota Fanning. I mean, you had a bunch of people in this one. One surprising cameo that I found was Anna Wintour from Vogue magazine. I couldn't believe that they actually got her to appear here, and she appeared as herself. All these other celebrities appeared as themselves as well, and a lot of them didn't have any speaking lines, but you saw them in the background. So I'm sure there was a lot of people that you'll notice that I didn't call out specifically here, but these are some of the people that I saw, especially Olivia Munn. Anytime I see Olivia Munn on screen, I just have to take a breath and stop, because she is one fine-looking feline. You also have James Corden in this movie, who's playing the investigator who is investigating the crime once these jewels are stolen. So you know that they're stolen based on the trailer. You see James Corden in the opening scene of the trailer. However, I just don't think he did a very good job here. He was trying too hard to be funny and serious at the same exact time, which is a very difficult thing to pull off. Not many actors or actresses can do that. In addition to that, you also have Anne Hathaway here, who's supposed to be this starlet, this diva, and she just did not do a very good job here. She was trying way too hard, and if there's one thing that I can't stand, is when an actor or an actress try too hard. Take Will Ferrell, for example. Will Ferrell is one of the funniest comedians, and he tries so hard. I know a lot of people love Step Brothers. I've grown to like it. I didn't like it originally, but all his other movies from there have been a total flop. He's trying way too hard to be funny. You see this a lot with Kevin Hart as well. These guys are funny. These are funny people who don't need to try too hard, and it just doesn't work for them. You also have Cate Blanchett's character, who I thought was trying way too hard to be butch, to be tough. Cate Blanchett in this movie is obviously the Brad Pitt character, the best friend, the consigliere, since a lot of this is Italian, but again, she's trying way too hard to play it cool, be nonchalant, like nothing bothers her. Just be yourselves. That's all you have to do to try and win us over. You don't have to try too hard. Am I wrong in this? Anyways, I want to go ahead and play the trailer for you and give you the spoiler alert, because there's a lot of things that I want to get into detail about, and I don't want to ruin this for those who haven't seen it yet and who still want to go see it, even though I'm giving it a rate of 6. So without further ado, here you go.
Do you know this woman? Debbie Ocean, convicted felon. Her brother, Danny Ocean, more convicted felon. She was present on the night of the incident.
Ooh, So, my party, my rules.
We would like to present you all with a hypothetical situation.
How hypothetical?
Not very, unless we screw up. It's called the Toussaint. It's over 6 pounds of diamonds.
Valued at over $100 million.
150 billion, actually.
And we are going to rob it.
One, respect. Better watch every word on your lips.
Great to see you. You look...
Recently incarcerated?
That was spectacular.
Two, don't get
These are all Russians.
They're hackers.
Are there no hackers who aren't Russian?
No, there's barely any Russians who aren't hackers.
three, I bet.
Do you want me to set up a meeting?
Yes. And number four, stop.
How long would it take you to make 7 pieces of jewelry?
5 or 6 hours.
How long if I told you you didn't have to live with your mother anymore?
इसलिए तुम्हारे पास कोई पति नहीं है.
Less.
5, all eyes.
Can anyone really be overqualified? This is the Met Gala after
Gala, the Met Gala.
the gala.
And 6, no tricks.
All right, here we go. Don't sleep. Don't sleep. Because she might disappear. You saw that?
7, ooh.
We could hack the Met security system.
Hey, boo. You poor thing.
And number 8.
I'm going to prison, and then I'm going to be really, really poor.
Not necessarily.
Police coming. Ready to go. Game on.
Hey, Blue Steel. Man, they're just not trustworthy.
Watch.
Ocean's 8.
What's happening?
Can't get a signal.
Wait. Every time you move it, they have to start from scratch.
What did you
What'd she do?
I turn it on.
My party,
Rated PG-13.
my rules.
Only in theaters June 8th.
So there you have it. There's the trailer for Ocean's 8. It's the movie that we're reviewing today, and this is going to be your spoiler alert. Anything after this point is fair game. You have been warned. So like I said earlier, we start off the movie with Sandra Bullock's character, Debbie Ocean, who is at her parole hearing trying to be released, and she's claiming to be a reformed citizen. Again, Sandra, please lay off the plastic surgery. We then find out from the parole hearing advocates that they say that Danny is dead. I couldn't believe it. As soon as they said that, my heart kind of sank a little because I was kind of hoping for an Ocean's 14, even though I'm a big advocate for letting trilogies end in trilogies and hey, let bygones be bygones. Just finish on top. I would have loved to have seen an Ocean's 14, but I'm pretty sure it would have flopped. I kind of wanted to see what Al Pacino's character, maybe that's how they did it. Because in Ocean's 11, they go after Andy Garcia. In Ocean's 12, Andy Garcia comes after them. And then in Ocean's 13, you have a new villain, which is the Al Pacino character. But anyways, that would have been cool. So then we find out that Danny is dead, and we start going through the notions, of her exiting and leaving, and she's actually talking to one of the officers and says, well, what are you going to do? And she goes, well, I have $45. I'm going to travel. I don't know about you. I don't know about these people. How the heck are you traveling with $45 in your pocket? That is a little too much for suspending disbelief. From here, she travels to New York, and the things that she has done just opened my eyes. And I have to wonder, do people actually do this? Okay, get this. Sandra Bullock goes into a high-end store and she starts picking out perfumes and brushes and lipsticks and eye color and all this stuff, okay? And you kind of notice that some of the attendants are eyeballing her like, what is she doing? Because she's in a nice little night dress kind of thing. Just like Danny, who was released in a tuxedo, she's released in the dress that she was arrested in. Unlike Ocean's 11, there was nobody there to pick her up, so she's finding her way somehow to New York. So she takes all these unopened boxes to the cashier, and all of a sudden she starts complaining and throwing a fit, saying, hey, I want to return these. The attendant asks for a receipt. She says, no, I don't have a receipt, but they're unopened. Just, go ahead and refund me my money. The attendant then follows procedures and says, I can't give you a refund. Do you have a credit card and we can put it back on the credit card? She goes, no, I can't believe that you're giving me so much crap about this. I just want my refund. These are unopened, unused. I just don't want them anymore. And the lady starts arguing with her saying, look, I can't take these if you don't have the credit card or the receipt. And then, out of the blue, she says, all right, fine. Can you at least give me a bag so that I can keep this? And the attendant, God bless her, gives her a bag and she walks out with them. I couldn't believe it. Just like that. I mean, do shoplifters really is it really that simple? I couldn't believe it. Now, just while I'm on the subject, okay, and this is going to be a little bit of a rant, customer service today is absolutely horrendous. I cannot believe that society has dwindled down so far that some of these clerks think that they do not have to be nice to the customer anymore. That's not to say that you need to let the customer get away with everything. Look, my first job was at Domino's Pizza. I was a customer service associate, and the customer was always right. Let me tell you something. The customer is not always right. Sometimes you need to put your foot down. I just recently heard a story back in December about a customer who bought a Christmas tree at Costco and then took it back at the end of December and said that she wanted a refund because the tree was dead. Are you freaking kidding me? And she made such a big scene and such a big deal that Costco actually gave her a refund. If that is not the most crooked thing I have ever heard of, I don't know what is. There is definitely something wrong with society today when it comes to customer service. Customers are taking way too much advantage of customer service associates, and that is leading to customer service associates not providing excellent customer care. I used to hear about people leaving comments, and I just thought, that's such a waste of time. They're just doing their jobs. There's no point. But you know what? Nowadays, whenever I receive exceptional customer service, I make sure to go out of my way to compliment it because it is so rare nowadays. The point I'm trying to make is just be nice to everybody. Treat others the way you want to be treated. But anyways, back to the movie. We're talking about Sandra Bullock's character here. So then she goes to this high-end hotel. And this I know from what I've seen on 2020 and Dateline and all these investigation shows on television. She overhears a couple checking out. And then as they're checking out, you think, okay, well, they're checking out. What can she do? She can't sneak into the room. No. She then calls the hotel from the very lobby, claiming to be the person who just checked out's wife. And says, hey, listen, our flight got canceled and the airline is wanting to put us up in some cheap hotel, but we liked your service so much. Is there any way we can keep our original room? And the attendant, having just checked them out, says, yeah, absolutely. Let me go ahead and cancel the cancellation. I couldn't believe this. And then here's the genius part, because you think, okay, well, if she canceled it, she's going to have to go back up to the front desk and get the key and check back in. No. You know what she tells them? Well, we're going to go grab a bite to eat first, but can you please send them in to clean the room right now because it won't be very long before we get there. And so the hotel person calls housekeeping, tells them to go up and start cleaning the room and making it over. And so Sandra Bullock gives it a little bit. At least she waits for them to make up the bed. Meanwhile, she's at the cart stealing soaps and shampoos and pens and stuff, which, let's be honest, we've all done it. I know I have. Anyways, that is not an admission of guilt for those of you who are in law enforcement, just so you know. Anyways, she then goes into the room as the maid is cleaning and everything and says, you know what, can you just finish this later? I just really need to lay down. It's been a long day. And the rest, as they say, is history. She has pulled off a con. Not even 24 hours that she's been released from prison. I couldn't believe it. Is it really that simple? And you know, this is what's going to happen. I'm not a betting man, but look, I guarantee you that in the next couple of months, there's going to be some idiot that decides to pull this off and try and do this, and then have the audacity to sue the studios saying that they gave them the idea. Really? Come on. This is how criminals start. They see stupid stuff like this. They think they can get away with it. They think that it's harmless fun. They think that they're going to get away. And then they get arrested. They get caught and they realize, oh my gosh, I just committed a felony. I don't know if this is a felony or not, but you know what? I don't care. don't be stupid. Don't try and do this. Be law-abiding citizens. Do what you gotta do. Work hard and pay for your stuff. Anyways, so she takes a long hot bath. She starts to kind of plan things out and how she wants to approach this. We then meet Kate Blanchett's character, who I guess is like a bar owner or something. We find her and her employees watering down the liquor at these bars. She starts filling up the vodka bottles with water, which I'm sure happens. You know, I used to watch John Taffer in Bar Rescue, and he came across so many people that would water down their liquor, and that is against the law. These movies idolize these criminals and try to influence the law-abiding citizens to see how easy it is to break the law. And, you know, my history teacher used to say, why do we keep locks on doors? It's to keep honest people honest. And that is for sure. Shout out, Mr. Harrington. Miss you, buddy. Great job teaching me history. Anyways, so Sandra Bullock's character has been planning this heist for over 5 years. That's how long she's been in prison. Turns out that she was betrayed by someone else who was conning her, or rather they were working together, pulling jobs, making tons of money, and then he ends up backstabbing her and she goes to prison for 5 years. So now all of a sudden she's out of prison, and for 5 years she's been planning this heist and figuring out how she can get her revenge on this guy. And so what they're going to do, I guess he's some sort of art dealer or some sort of up-and-coming artist. I don't know. So she's planning on getting back at him, and she comes up with the idea to break into the Met Gala, which is one of the most exclusive parties in the United States every year. And what she's going to do is she's going to set up this guy with Anne Hathaway's character and frame him for stealing the diamonds, you know. So as they're touring the Met Gala, I'm fast forwarding through here because this movie was so bad, I just want to get this over with. They're walking through the Met Gala and they're seeing all these other diamonds and all these other jewels through history, the royal jewels throughout the ages, you know, Egypt and Europe and all this other stuff. And they're kind of wondering why these aren't on the agenda. And, you know, of course they come up with some sort of excuse. And so finally they plant in a character to be Anne Hathaway's designer. So she's one of the 8. And Anne Hathaway is going to be wearing the Latour diamond, which is Cartier's 50-year-old $150 million necklace that can only be taken off by a magnet, and Anne Hathaway's character is being followed by security, her own private detail made up of elite commandos. This magnet, of course, is one of the roadblocks, one of the twists in the movie. They didn't expect to have to deal with that because now they're going to replace the diamonds with zirconium, however you pronounce it, printed out on a 3D printer. Are you serious? Anyways, the plot is to essentially dress up Anne Hathaway with this diamond and then poison her dinner so that she is throwing up and just blowing her guts out all throughout the dinner. And one of the 8 women is going to sneak in there, hold her hair back like all good girls do, you know, when you're at the club, and make the old switcheroo. So while they're in the restroom, they do the switcheroo, and then they start breaking up the diamonds into smaller pieces so that some of them wear them out as bracelets, some of them wear them out as tiny necklaces, some of them wear them out as earrings. And the main centerpiece, which is this large diamond, they're sneaking into this guy's dinner jacket so that later on in the movie he is busted with it by James Corden and the police and everything, and then he goes to jail for stealing this $150 million necklace. Now, one thing I will say is that there is a lot more going on throughout the movie. You know, Anne Hathaway's character comes out of the bathroom. The elite commandos see that there is absolutely nothing around her neck. They can't believe it. And all of a sudden, everything goes into panic. Everything goes into lockdown. And they start evacuating everybody into a controlled area so that every person, celebrity, and workers are scanned, searched, everything so that they can find this diamond. I just want to leave something for you to watch the movie if you decide to go watch it. That being said, there is the expected big plot twist at the end of the movie where we find out exactly how much money they stole and how they stole it. But I'm not going to reveal everything. Like I said, I want to leave something for you to enjoy if you decide to go watch this movie. This movie is worth watching. It's just not worth having to wait and seeing it in the theater, waiting in line. You can go to the Dollar Movie, you can stream it, you can bootleg it, whatever you want to do. It's just a disappointment. If you like the iconic Ocean's 11, the iconic Ocean's 12 and 13, there's absolutely no need for you to watch this movie and just be disappointed the way that I was. You guys could have done a lot better. I'm speaking directly to the cast and crew of Ocean's 8. Please take my advice. Do not do an Ocean's 9 or 10 unless you get better writers and make this story worthwhile. Stop trying to compete and try to be better than everybody else. Be yourselves. Follow the main storyline and just be cool. That being said, that's going to do it for this edition of GOAT Movies. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember to subscribe, comment, and rate this podcast. If you have any other movies or anything that you'd like to discuss, please be sure to email me at goatmoviespc@gmail.com. That's goatmovies, plural, PC for podcast, at gmail.com. I also have an Instagram account at goatmoviespc. Be sure to go and follow them. If you'd like to be a guest star on the podcast, go ahead and shoot me an email and we can definitely work something out. That's going to be it for this week. I'm your host, Carlos Dominguez, and I will see you next week.
Can a partner then begin